Hello everyone and welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Gavin Hatch. Now last week I wanted to show you guys these pictures from SeaWorld, but I had the chance to actually show you the new Hogsmeade area at Universal Studios Hollywood, which I thought was kind of cool, so I wanted to show you that instead. But this week we are at SeaWorld because since our last visit there, it has changed. There have been some new things popping up and of course growth as they build Mako. So let's jump right into it. In the very front of the park, the SeaWorld Rescue Store is still open, but as you can see, there are construction walls on the exterior areas. There's only one entrance into the store right now as they do some refurbishments on the exterior. I'm not sure if it's just the flooring or the concrete, or if they're actually doing something to the building itself. Over by Manta, when I was walking past, I saw a gentleman actually doing some surveying of the area, so I don't know if they're looking to go ahead and expand this space, if they're looking to demolish something and build something completely new. But obviously when you see someone doing this in the parks, that usually means that there is construction coming, so we will have to just keep our eyes on this area of the park. The Manatee Rehabilitation Center is one of the things that I wanted to see that day. There are three other things I really wanted to experience, so this is the first one, and this is really interesting, and I think it is a great addition to the park. For those of you that are familiar with the park, this is going to be located at the exit of Turtle Trek. So you can go ahead and come around the Turtle Trek store, and it also shares a space with Manatees as well. But when you are coming to the left, or when you're coming out of Turtle Trek, you go to the right, there is a whole new area that looks so nice. It's really cool because this used to be a backstage area, and this is where they keep the manatees, and they have two, I guess you call them pools, not tanks, where they actually do rehabilitate the manatees that are rescued and brought to the park, and then hopefully eventually released back into the wild. What's really neat is the pools have been there for a number of years. This is where they have cared for the manatees for years, but this area has not been shown to the public, so to the general guests coming into the park. So really the only thing that's new here is the pathway that takes you to those pools, and of course all the informational and educational signs and things that you can kind of watch around the area. That's all new, but the pools have been there for years. It's just been something that you can only see as a guest if you're on a educational tour or a VIP tour. So now they decided to go ahead and open up to everyone. There's no additional cost to see this and experience this. It is something that you can just walk on over and see. It's really cool though, because I love manatees. I'm born and raised in Florida, and that's something that you do see when you go to the springs, and I'm still always learning something when I go there. And I was really happy with how staffed it was. It was staffed with, there was 5 different team members all around the area that were really nice and just loved what they were doing and telling you all about these manatees. So it's great. You can ask them all these questions, and they have TVs advertising the show that they have on ABC, Sea Rescue, and so I like how they plug that show in there. And I love how you get this kind of behind the scenes look at the tanks and the filtration systems for all the water that's going through the manatee exhibit as well as the turtle exhibit at Turtle Trek. So you can just see here how massive it is, all these pipes and these tanks that filter this water every hour. It's just massive, and I love the kind of behind the scenes stuff, and you'll get to see this a lot in theme parks. So SeaWorld is really cool about how they, kind of pull back that curtain and let you experience this and learn how they do it. Alright, so the second thing that I really wanted to see when I went there that day was the Empire of the Penguin attraction, because there have been some changes made in the queue. Now, as you can see from this old photo, the entrance used to be for everyone. Everyone that was going to experience the attraction or want to see the penguins would enter here. Now, if you had Express or the quick queue, you just go ahead and walk on through this line and go through a separate queue. But if you wanted to just go ahead and see the penguins without riding the attraction, that really wasn't an option. You had to go ahead and ride the attraction, and if you wanted to do that, you'd have to wait sometimes up to 3 hours in a line when it was peak season or when it first opened up, and that was a major inconvenience to guests that didn't really want to experience the attraction, but instead just want to see the penguins. So last month they debuted the new queue setup, and it is separate now. You have a entrance just for those who are going to do standby lines for the attraction itself. You have a line for those who are doing the quick queue, and they now enter where everyone used to go through. And there's also now a line just for those who want to see the penguins and not experience the attraction. and let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. As you can see from the outside, it does look different. They added all kinds of new structures and also wait time signs. Now from the outside, when you're in line, it looks about the same. You are separated, you have a divider, so you have guests that are in standby on one side, you have those who are not going to be riding and just want to see the penguins standing in the center, and then to the left you have the quick queue guests that will be standing in line, and they're closer up towards the door for the entrance of the pre-show room. Now once you go inside the pre-show room, that is where things look different, and I was really taken back and surprised that they added this. It is now in 3 different sections, so you have those who are doing the quick queue, you have those who are in standby, and you have those who are non-riders, all in the same room, but they have like these tall cages, dividers in the room now, and so it's a little different, but it doesn't obstruct anyone's view, and it's different, that's for sure. After the pre-show is ended, the doors will open up in front of you, and those who are riding will just go through the rest of the line that's always been there. Nothing's changed there. And those that are non-riders will go to the left, and there is a new room that's been set up, and that is where you will go. The doors close behind you, so you're sealed off in there, and there is a screen and a monitor in there that comes on with a trainer talking about the penguins and what you're about to experience. For those of you who have been there before, you know that it's like 32 degrees once you're inside the habitat with those penguins. So it gets really cold pretty fast, especially if you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, which makes sense because all day outside it's usually in the 80s or 90s because it's Florida. But it's actually pretty dangerous to take your body from those type of conditions outside and bring them indoors and be at 32 degrees that fast. That's why it's so important that the guests have to go through those 2 different rooms. It's acclimating your body slowly to those temperatures changing. In the middle of summer, if you were to just walk inside into the penguin habitat without going through those pre-show rooms, it could potentially harm you because of the drastic change in the temperature. So that's why it's so important that the guests go ahead and experience both pre-shows before actually seeing the penguins, because it is acclimating your body to those temperature changes. Now the day we were there, when we were looking to leave the exhibit, the revolving doors were actually not working at the time. So in order to go ahead and let the guests exit and again have to go through those rooms to kind of adjust your body, they had us go into this very small room and stand in there for like a minute, and then they opened the door and let us walk on out. And that's where we walked into the indoor exhibit that was enclosed behind glass, and then you were able to just go ahead and walk on out, and there was another revolving door that was working. So again, when you're leaving the building as well, you have to reacclimate your body and get it adjusted so when you walk outside, it's not a shock. A couple of weeks ago, it was announced that June 10th will be the opening date for Mako, SeaWorld's newest coaster that is still under construction right now. Over in the themed area, Sharks Wreck Reef, that will be home to Mako, they actually have closed the Fins, it's called Fins, that merchandise store that's across from Sharks Underwater Grill has closed and is being refurbished and rethemed for the new area. The rethemed land is also in the process of getting more decor being put in, and you can see here, since our last visit, they have added more stuff in the area. One of the coolest things is this ship. This broken, sunken ship has been added at the base of part of the track of Mako. So Mako will actually fly through this, and I was really surprised of how detailed it was looking. And after I took these photos, they actually had crews up there adding more detail to it, repainting it, adding more texture to it to make it look more like wood. So it's crazy. June 10th is going to be here before we know it, and they still looks like they have a lot to do. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out and if it will all get done on time, if they're going to still be working on it after the grand opening. Right next to what will be the entrance to Mako is the Nautilus Theater. Inside the Nautilus Theater, they have something going on right now called Mako Rising. Twice a day, they do a 15-minute presentation, and it is not just a video. I thought it was going to be just a video of them showing the construction and concept art and all that cool stuff, but it's actually kind of cool because a person comes out into the stage, they use strobe lights, they use fog effects, and she comes out, she's really fun and gets the crowd pumped up. And they actually have a game with kids on stage, and they have a lot of video though of the construction process and what it's going to look like, and it's pretty exciting. It's a great idea to go ahead and have this in the parks. other parks do this as well, especially when they're building new theme parks. They have preview centers and things like that. So it's kind of cool to see SeaWorld doing this. I haven't seen it done in a while, and it gets you excited. And it's going to be here again, like I said, before you know it. And I love how it's right next door to the attraction. So you can walk out of the theater after you see this presentation, look to your right, and there it is, and you can see it for yourself. Alright, so last week's Photo Finds question was this: which attraction closed at Universal Studios Hollywood to make room for the Revenge of the Mummy attraction? Now, a lot of you thought it was the King Kong attraction that used to be at Universal Studios Florida, and you're partially correct, but the one in Hollywood was actually the E.T. Adventure. So in Hollywood, the E.T. Adventure closed and the Revenge of the Mummy took its place. Congratulations to those who got it correct, and thank you so much for playing along and commenting below. Now, next week's episode, here's the question for next week. Next week's episode is going to be wild. We're going to go somewhere where we haven't been in quite some time. So if you think you know where we're going next week, comment below. And if you get it correct, obviously, you will see in our next show. So thank you again so much for commenting below. I love reading your comments and responding to those. And as you can see, here's Topher. He also wanted to say hello and congratulate those who got this week's question correct. And he was at SeaWorld that day I was there, and he was ready to eat. He went to go ahead and do Dine with Shamu, so he loved it. Well, that will do it for this week's Photo Finds. Until next time, make sure you guys subscribe to Attractions Magazine, and make sure that you get out, have fun, and enjoy the parks.